In a quiet neighborhood far from his homeland in Pakistan, Hassan Rahman, a 68-year-old man, lived in a large but somber house. His home was always quiet, except for the occasional murmurs of caregivers attending to his two disabled children, a son, Fahim, and a daughter, Layla. The burden of their care weighed heavily on Hassan, and though he had hired caregivers over the years, he trusted no one. He was convinced that only family could be truly loyal. It was a belief that had shaped his past and unknowingly sealed his children's fate. He had married his first cousin, following family traditions, unaware of the risks it carried. The result was his children's condition. And now, with his eldest son gone, dead for 3 years, his fears grew. Who would take care of Fahim when he was gone? That was when Amina entered the picture. Amina was a young African woman in her late 20s, but looked much younger. She had been working as a caregiver for a while, but she carried something different, a sense of spiritual wisdom and awareness of things beyond the physical. She had seen her son watching her more than he should, not just as an employer, but with something else in his eyes. Whenever he asked her about marriage, she answered casually, "Soon, inshallah." And then he would smile, a knowing smile, as if he had already decided her fate. One evening, as she helped Fahim with his meal, her son stood in the doorway, watching. "When are you getting married, Amina?" he asked suddenly, his voice too casual. She looked up, slightly startled. "Soon, Baba Hassan," she replied with a smile, using the respectful term for an elder. "Ah, soon," he repeated, nodding. Then, turning to another caregiver in the room, he said loudly, "Amina is getting married soon." The other caregivers chuckled, but Amina felt a chill. Why was he announcing it like that? As days passed, Hassan kept bringing it up more persistently. "You should think about a man who is kind, a man who needs you, like Fahim," he said one evening, gesturing towards his son. Amina's heart sank. She had seen this type of manipulation before, an elder disguising his own selfish desires as concern. He wanted her to marry Fahim, not out of love, but so she could be a permanent caregiver. From that moment, she became more careful. She noticed how Hassan watched her, how his eyes followed her movements, how he always tried to make her stay longer in conversations. She realized he was waiting for the right moment to trap her. One day, Amina was in the kitchen warming up her food. The microwave was occupied, so she placed her plate on the counter, waiting. She turned away for just a moment, and when she turned back, Hassan was there, standing by her food, watching it. His eyes held a strange, unreadable expression. Something in her got twisted. A deep primal instinct screamed danger. She didn't touch the food. Instead, she excused herself and went upstairs. In the quiet of her room, she pulled out a small bottle of spiritual neutralizer, a secret remedy passed down from her grandmother. She drank a sip and whispered a prayer. Moments later, her stomach churned violently, not from sickness, but as if it was fighting something unseen, not the kind that kills the body, but the kind that weakens the soul, makes a person vulnerable to manipulation, control, and spiritual bondage. Hassan had tried to bind her. That night, Amina made a decision. She left the job. She did not wait for explanations or arguments. She simply vanished from Hassan's house, like a whisper in the wind. But even after she was gone, Hassan still asked about her. "Where is Amina?" he would say. "When is she getting married?" He knew she had slipped through his fingers, but he never stopped hoping she would come back. But Amina never did. She had learned a lesson that night. Not all prisons are walls, and not all chains are made of iron. The moral of the story: be aware of manipulation disguised as care. Trust your intuition. It is your spiritual shield. Not all battles are fought with swords. Some are fought with wisdom and silent escape.